What's up, guys? Let's talk about compound interest. My name is Jeremy Guldin. I've been a business owner, and investor, and entrepreneur for the past 8 years and continue to grow my portfolio and my businesses. So let's talk about this. Many people, I shouldn't say many people, some people out there still don't know what compound interest is. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit and kind of give you an idea exactly what is compound interest? Why is that important? What is that going to do for me? Why should I focus on learning more about making money with my money? And like I said, one of the cool things is something called compound interest. And hopefully you know what that is. If not, this video is going to give you a little bit of an insight. So interest. Everyone knows what interest is, right? You pay interest on a credit card, you pay interest on loans. You get interest from banks, savings accounts primarily, some checking accounts. But for the most part, people will feed money into their savings account thinking, hey, this is gonna make me some money. This day and age, savings accounts, they suck. They really do, they suck. If you're lucky, you might be close to 1%, maybe a little bit higher for an interest-bearing savings account. If you're really unlucky, you might be down in the 0.2, 0.3, or even 0.5% for your savings account, not making very much interest at all. You figure the amount of interest, if you're at 1% on that $1,000 that you have in your savings account, you're making a whole whopping $1. $10. $10, about $1 a month. So you're making a whole whopping, around $1 a month on that interest in your savings account. So why is this not going to get you anywhere? In 20 years, think about the kind of money you're going to make on, even if you had $100,000 in there. The amount of money that you're going to make interest on that is nothing. It's minimal. The most important thing is you're trading time. If you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're trading time for money. You want to take that money and you want your money to work for you, right? You want something to set up for later in life that you don't have to worry about punching the clock. You want to make sure that if you're making $100,000 in a year and let's say you're putting 30% of your salary into a savings account. That's $30,000 a year, okay? So in 10 years, it's gonna be $300,000. But if you're only making that measly even 1% interest on that, you're not gonna be very far in that 10 years. But what if I told you that if you put it into a dividend, or I shouldn't say a dividend, but a dividend stock, that you could get compound interest on it, you could make more. Let's talk about this. So compound interest is interest that you're making on the interest you already made. So that's kind of weird. Like, how do you make interest on the interest you already made? Well, even for your savings account, if you got, say, $1,000 that they paid you in interest over a 10-year span, you've made interest on that interest that you already made, right? They're giving you some more interest. So your savings account is going to grow a little bit at a time, because you're continuing to earn interest on that, and then you're gonna basically keep that in your savings account and reinvest, so to speak, okay? What about if you put it into a dividend stock? Let's say Coca-Cola. Now, like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just a stock that I'm using, so don't go dumping $10,000 into Coca-Cola after I talked about this. But I'm using this as an example. Coca-Cola has paid a dividend. I should have looked up the numbers, but pretty much just say for the past 75 years. I think it's actually more than that, but they've paid a dividend out to their stockholders for a while. So if you bought $10, just say $10 of Coca-Cola shares, and the dividend on that is, I believe, around 3 to 4%. Right now on your money. So what that means is every quarter, some pay monthly too, but most likely every quarter Your dividend stock is going to pay you a dividend. So whatever money they have left over in gains as a company, they pay out to their shareholders. So they pay it out on a percentage for how many shares you have. So just say Coca-Cola is 3%. So you would get a 3% payout every quarter on that $10 that you invested. Now the cool part about this is what you can do is you can set your account up in a stock portfolio, most of them, majority, to do what's called a drip. A drip is a reinvestment back into that specific stock. So what's cool about that is it's going to take that money, say that 3% that you got from Coca-Cola out of that $10, which is $3. And I'm just using percentages. I did not look up Coca-Cola. I apologize for that, but I'm just giving you ideas. Say that 3%, so that's $3 every quarter you're going to reinvest back into Coca-Cola. So it's not going to buy you a full share of Coca-Cola. It's going to buy you a quarter, or about 1/3 of a share of Coca-Cola. So it's going to take that and go back in, and now instead of you having just one share, now you have 1 1/3. Okay, that's just in the first quarter. After a year, you have 2 1/3 shares of Coca-Cola. And you can kind of see where this continues to snowball. It's going to continue to grow and continue to grow. So your $10 that you might have invested in that stock now, after a year, you're going to have 2 of those stocks, which is actually $20 1/3. And it's going to continue to grow and get larger and larger and larger. And like I said, you continue to get that dividend from Coca-Cola. So making sure that you're setting up yourself that, you know, these dividends are going to continue to pay you out, you know, that you're not going to, you know, cash that dividend out. You know, if anything, what I mean by compounding interest is, like I said, gaining interest on that interest you already made, but making sure that when you are setting up your accounts, maybe into retirement, when you want to get some kind of money, you want to be paid out something, maybe not set it into a drip account, but in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe even up into your early 60s, you're going to want that to reinvest. You're going to want to make money on your money, because what's happening is while you're sleeping, while you're even at work, working that 9-to-5 job, your money's in the back making money for you, okay? And you're not just out punching the clock to make time or to take time to make money. So the most important thing to pull away from this video is compounding interest is interest that your money is making you and reinvesting into itself to make interest upon that interest you've already made. So remember that when you're looking into the stock market, it's good to have some growth stocks. It's also good to have some dividend stocks, because those dividend stocks, also research those dividend stocks, because the majority of those dividend stocks are going to continue to pay you monthly or quarterly or even yearly. Bank stocks, almost all bank stocks are going to pay you some kind of dividend. Coca-Cola, there's so many dividend paying stocks, but research them, because there are some, if they've had a bad year, COVID-19, they could pull those dividends away. So don't think that just because it's a dividend stock now that you're set securely. I used Coca-Cola as an example because they've paid out their dividends for years upon years. They're a good company for investment for long growth. They're not going anywhere. They're not just selling Coke products in the sense of like Coke, Diet Coke, that kind of stuff. They have waters. They have, you know, so many different beverage companies that they own that they're not gonna go anywhere. I'd find it hard to believe that Coca-Cola at some point will go away. So I think it's a good company to hold for that long-term gain. Is it going to be something that you're going to make a huge gain with, with your money? Like I'll use NEO as an example. Back when I invested in that, it was $7 to $8. Now it's up to 60 something a share. I don't see Coca-Cola jumping from their percentage right now $100. But they're going to continue to have that slow growth, and they're going to continue to pay you out that dividend, and that's the most important. So remember that compounding interest is interest that you're making upon the interest you already made. And the most important thing about this is it's going to continue to snowball for you, and the sooner you do it, the better. And the other thing is it is working for you. So you're not having to physically punch a clock, trading time for money. You're actually having your money work for you. So remember that. Go out, invest in something that's going to pay you some kind of dividend, or is going to pay you some kind of compounding interest, so that way you can continue to grow your portfolio and create success. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate you, and look forward to watching my next video.